and the pressure and the constant need to get something or to change something or to do something, to scratch that itch. Just so sick of it. And it had been going on my whole life. Maybe 9 months to a year, somewhere in there, I woke up one day and I realized I couldn't remember the last time I thought about using drugs or alcohol. I couldn't remember the last time I thought about it. Like, actually, oh, I might use today. Or, oh, that looks good. God, I wish I could do that. Like, I hadn't had any of those thoughts, and I didn't know when the last one was. Something profound had happened for me. Those people always told me, those people, the crew that I ran with in 12 steps, they told me, keep coming back. It will happen for you. And I'd say, when will it happen? When will it happen? They said, we don't know, but it will happen. But you have to keep coming, and you have to keep being honest and in integrity, and you have to do your best to show up and to work these steps and to do these things that we're asking you to do. And a profound shift is coming. The irony about the profound shift, which I'm hoping all of you have had, and if not yet, it's coming soon for you. The irony about it is you can't pinpoint the day, the date, and the time that it happened. It sneaks up on us. It's like you're on the other side of it. Somehow it's like it's snuck in, and I can't tell you when that happened, but it happened. And it was incredible. There was such relief behind it. And that was the first major awakening of that nature in my life. How am I doing on time, Kimberly? How much time do I have left?
Yeah, you're doing great. We've got plenty of time. We've got 25 minutes till 8 o'clock. So it's 7:35 now. So you can go even after 8. So you've got
Okay, great.
35, 40.
Thank you so much. So when I started working the 12 steps and I was in that community while I was having this awakening that I just described to you, the feeling was, why do I have to do this when other people don't seem to do this or seem to have to do this? So there was a lot of why. My sponsor had to deal with a lot of why for me. I just don't understand why I have to do this. I don't understand what this is exactly. Like, I understand, okay, it's a spiritual path, it's a spiritual program. We're learning different things, but it just doesn't make intuitive sense to me. And that's the thing about spirituality. It's not linear. It's not logical. And that's a hard thing to accept when you've been trained to think in a linear, logical kind of way. So one of the reasons that people struggle around the 12 steps or any spiritual path or any religious path is because they're being asked to step into experience, their own experience. And they're being asked to inquire about their own experience. And they're being made to look at their own experience in a way that they never have before. And they have to draw conclusions based on their own experience. And it's very, very difficult and challenging for a person to accept. And that was my experience. Very difficult going through that in the early days. One really has to stay there and stick it out. And the reason I bring that up is because there are a couple of ingredients that I have noted are critically necessary for people in early recovery. One of those things is they have to have daily examples of victory in front of them. I needed an example of victory every day. Somebody who was like, oh, I know how you feel. I have been there before. I was stuck in that like you are, and now I'm not. I overcame that, and you can too. And just hearing that from somebody was enough to carry on. And I was like, oh my God, thank God. Somebody understands me. I'm not alone in this. So, examples of victory, so important for me. Structure. It's a 4-letter F word for most of us. Structure. We kick and scream around structure, but every one of us has something in common. You know why I say this? Every person in recovery I ever met flourishes in structure. It's got to be the right kind of structure for them, but every one of us flourishes in structure. We speak about one day at a time and the power of one day at a time and changing your thinking to be in the day and to really focus on what's in front of us. Very important. And the development of a one day at a time way of living is not just powerful for people in recovery, but that's powerful for human beings across the board. We are on a 24-hour clock. We have to wake up. We have to do it again. And that's the nature of being alive. We have to do this. So all those early lessons, really important, what carried me through to make it to that powerful, profound transformation. The ceiling came when I started to run up against the core anxiety that had always been there. Only this time, I couldn't blame drugs and alcohol because they were gone. In the worst of my codependency in recovery, the worst of my codependency, which is like dying a slow death. In the worst of it, I never desired to use drugs and alcohol, ever. I didn't know how I was going to survive it, but I didn't want to go back to drugs and alcohol. That's very powerful. That speaks to a very profound change that had happened in me. But the point was, like so many people in recovery, I came to that next level. I was sober long enough to finally face the next lesson plan. But there was none. I couldn't find it. There was no next manual. I was sponsoring guys, working the steps, speaking to my sponsor, going to meetings, service work, the whole thing, and I was dying a slow death inside. It is not a shortcoming of the 12-step fellowship. It is not a slight against the beautiful, profound work of the 12 steps. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this human being, the complexity of this, my history, my genetics, my epigenetics, my family, the food that I ate, the way that I behaved, the way I connected with women, the way I had my friendships and business relationships, required deep work and healing, which was not available to me within the 12-step universe. That meant that I had to find it. I had to look for it elsewhere. There was more work to be done. And so on January 2nd of the year 2000, I temporarily made a conscious decision to leave the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous after 9 years, against everybody's advice, against everybody's cautioning. You are in the grips of the disease. You are going to be high in 6 months, is pretty much the message. And I was so unhappy, so absolutely miserable and beaten. And I just couldn't get what I needed there. And I checked in with myself, and I knew I did not want to use drugs and alcohol. That was not what this was about. And I knew that I had great fear about leaving. But nonetheless, and I'm not suggesting this for anybody, I'm just reporting in from the field. This was my experience. I was being guided. It turned out okay. I went on a road of searching for teachers. I was looking for the next lesson plan. And I found it finally after a lot of difficulty and a lot of pain. I found a number of different therapists in a row that really helped me to see the patterns of my life, really helped me to make other choices, and to sit through the discomfort of making those other choices, and to learn and to grow and to become a mature man. And also to be able to sit still long enough to just begin to calm down to the extent where I could develop a relationship with me. Because when I looked at an attractive woman, there was a compulsion to try to get her to pay attention to me. Period. There's just no other way to say it. It's addiction out and out. And it's rooted in codependency, and it's rooted in a disconnection with myself. I am disempowered in that position. Can you give me a thumbs up if you understand what I'm saying? Okay, thank you. So in the big book, it talks about our real problem is lack of power. Lack of power. And so there's nothing less powerful than a person who looks outside of themselves to be completed by another person, a place, or a thing. We are outsourcing our power to the external world, and it is so painful. And it will come home to roost. And we are not bad people. I completely forgive myself for behaving this way. I understand why I behave this way. I have great compassion for me and others like me. And I've come to learn so much about what to do when the volume on this stuff gets turned up for me in my life, like around anxiety or stress, even today. Okay? So I pursued therapy, and I pursued really whatever the universe would give me in terms of guidance. There was a period of time where I started to read a lot of spiritual literature. I was absolutely enamored and am enamored today by the poetry of Rumi, the Sufi poet, and many others. And lo and behold, during those 3 years between 2000 and 2003, I did not go to a single meeting. And I did some profound work, but I really got an opportunity to see what addiction looks like outside of drugs and alcohol. Through the codependent piece, cigarettes were there, and gambling, big time. So I really had an opportunity to delve into all of these very painful addictions. And at the end of all of it, my body collapsed, and I reached my third and final bottom. And the third bottom was the bottom of total, utter surrender. It wasn't out of desperation, it was out of knowing. It's different. There's a different quality to it. I knew that if I did not get right, that my life as I knew it was going to end. And it was going to end very poorly. And all the dreams that I had, and all the hopes that I had, and all the pain that I had were going to drive me into insanity or death. Because I was still living in the frequency of addiction as badly as I ever had been. It just took a while for me to see it. So at 12 years sober, I found the next lesson plan. And that was my teacher, Guru Prem. And he taught me how to breathe first. He said to me, your breath, conscious attention to your breathing, is going to dictate the extent of your healing and how far you're going to be able to go in this life. Conscious attention to breath. He taught me how to move. He taught me yoga in a deeper way than I had ever learned it. I had been practicing yoga for 12 years. But now this was making yoga, this was taking yoga into the cells of my body. Whereas recovery previously had been compartmentalized from my life. Here's life and here's recovery. I did the same thing with yoga. Here's life and here's yoga. And those things also had to become integrated. There's nothing in my life now that's not yoga. And one teacher famously said, when my life got in the way of yoga, I just made yoga my life. And that's what became of me. Through his teachings, through his love, once again, through these very wise practices, I was able to get deep enough into my subconscious mind and into the trauma held from a lifetime of anxiety in my body. And I was able to begin to really let it go. At the time, I was pretty close to cripple. I could barely move. My entire back was in pain 24/7. My hips were stuck. Just utter pain. This was 2003. But he painted for me a vision of a kind of recovery that I had never known possible. The idea of true recovery from addiction, all addiction, recovery from the frequency of addiction, that one day at a time you could recover completely from anxiety and stress. And that you could have moment after moment of presence and awareness and a blissful feeling of contentedness with yourself. That you could know a level of freedom in your mind and body that you had always dreamed of but never, ever been able to find. He painted that vision for me and he showed me how to get there. And Recovery 2.0 was born. Since 2003 to now, that's 17 years. My back healed after 90 days with Guru Prem. I've explored the far reaches of nutrition, various fasting regimens, juicing regimens, a variety of different diets and approaches to food. I've explored breath practices, Kundalini yoga, Hatha yoga. I've revisited and come back into an absolute love affair with recovery philosophy, 12-step philosophy, Eastern philosophy, yoga philosophy, meditation philosophy. And I've found that teaching and sharing and being of service in a way that I could be of service has been the key. And I just had to develop the attitude of service. It wasn't specific to a certain kind of service. All of a sudden, not all of a sudden, after a lot of work and opening up, there's a sign that shows up on our head pointing to the sky and it says, open for business. Open for business. Employ me. Please employ me. Give me some meaning. Give me a reason, a purpose. Give me something that you know me. Speaking to God, you know me. Help me. Please help me. And that's the prayer every day. Please help me. And then at the end of the day, thank you. Every day. Prayer, 11th step. Prayer. The importance of prayer. Prayer, I don't believe in prayer, okay? I know it works. I know prayer works. I've seen too much, felt too much, experienced too much, seen too much in other people's experiences, not just my own, to know the power of prayer and how important it is. Even in the early days, when I would get on my hands and knees and, at the foot of my bed in a formal way, like my sponsor told me, just, could you please help me stay sober today? In the back of my mind, I have no idea who you are. I don't know what I'm talking to. I have no relationship. I have no conception of this. None of that matters. None of that matters. It's just that humility of, I know I'm not in control. I know. Look, I look out these windows right here, right behind me. There's a mountain filled with trees and rocks, plants and animals. And I'm pretty certain I didn't generate those things. I didn't organize those things. When they leave from the physical form and they die and then they decay into another form, I'm not doing that. When they came into this form, I didn't do that. So there's a generating force in the universe, and it's not me. I'm a part of it, however. There's an organizing force in the universe. It's not me, but I'm obviously organized. Not in my life, mind you, but in my beingness. You see two eyes, you see a nose. This is organized. This is put together this way. There's an organization to me just like there is to you. There's a destroying force in this universe. It takes things from one form into another. It's not me, but I'm subject to it and I'm a part of it. So that's your GOD right there, generating, organizing, destroying. That's what's happening. And when I really grasped that, it made my prayer so much deeper, so much more understandable, so much more profound for me to understand. I'm praying to the consciousness that is here. I'm praying to the consciousness that is through me, in every cell in my body. My heart is beating. I don't have to think about it. I'm a forgetful person sometimes. If I forgot about that and I had to think about it, my heart would stop beating. The universe is not set up that way. There's an intelligence. If lack of power is our dilemma and we're trying to connect with a higher power, we're trying to draw from the intelligence of the universe. We're relating to ourself because the intelligence of the universe is in each one of us. We untap, we uncover that, we recover that, and then we get into alignment. And then the magic starts to happen. We start to get into flow states. Not even from doing a yoga class or anything, you're just in the flow state because you've opened yourself up to that frequency on a daily basis. So prayer, unbelievable. The one of my favorite quotes from Emmett Fox from Sermon on the Mount. Prosperity means success in prayer. To be a prosperous person means you're successful at your prayer. So what is your prayer? What really is your prayer? Like I ask myself this every day. Really, when I'm up in my head and I'm like, not thinking clearly and then there's stress or, whatever it is coming up for me, I'm like, well, what's your prayer? Come back to that. Come back to that, Tommy. Take a deep breath. Remember your tendency to be in anxiety? Take a deep breath. Relax a minute. There's nowhere to get to. There's nothing to do. Come back to your center for a minute. Everything's okay. And everything's okay. Meditation is, for me, not a take it or leave it proposition. I absolutely have to do it. And I absolutely love it. I have fallen in love with it. Because in my meditation now, I'm able to reach a meditative state. I learned how to do it. And you can learn too. Maybe you already have. But if you haven't, what happens there is that's where the real intimacy takes place. You want to talk about healing codependency. You develop that incredible intimacy with yourself. This gorgeous, healing, beautiful love that flows through you, and you recognize, I didn't take a drug. I didn't drink. There's nobody here but me. I'm not going after anything. I'm just sitting here with me as an awareness, as a being, as a oneness, as a connected soul to everything. And in that place, there is a rhythm, and the rhythm is a rhythm of healing, a rhythm of love. Where I once needed it from you, I can tap into it. It's generated within me, just like it is within you. And there's a very clear practice and way to get there. And at this point in Recovery 2.0, for me as a teacher, it's just about the only thing that I want to share. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the practice of yoga. I love the physical practice of yoga. I love it so much. It makes me feel wonderful in my body. Keeps me happy, keeps this machinery, good. And that's wonderful. But that, for me, that without meditation, I'm missing the main event. The main event is the controlling, bad word, the direction, and the, let's just say, management of my energy at the mental, energetic, emotional, and spiritual level. It's absolutely a game changer for us all. And so what I'm talking about here is the core addiction, the most core addiction that everybody shares. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody. It's an addiction to the way that we think, the way we attach to our thinking. It's an addiction to our perception. It's an addiction to our past stories. And to free ourselves from that, for me, is when the anxiety dissolves completely. In that space of meditation, there is no more addiction. Not in that presence. It doesn't exist there. It is a place of such supreme bliss and freedom that you would want to go there every day. It takes a little work, and that's okay. But you get on a path, and there are many. There's not one way. That's the good news. There's not one way. There's not one meditative path. There are many. You get on one that works for you. If you can't find one, then you come and find me. And you come and be a part of what we're doing. At the end of every year in December and January, I do an 8-week program, which is dedicated to the things that we're talking about now. So if that's of interest to you, you come look for it. But there's not one way. There are many, many paths to what I'm talking about. But all of them seem to have the same quality or same characteristic. And that characteristic is they have a practice and a modality for finally quieting the mind so that you can truly get in touch with you. And then you get to experience the end of addiction, one day at a time. Thank you so much.
Man, Tommy, let's all thank you, Tommy. Thank you. Wow, amazing.
Heck yeah, Tommy.
It's amazing. Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you.
I'm gonna open it up, you guys. Tommy is gonna take some questions from us. I just wanted to say, Tommy, thank you so much. If I didn't already say thank you a million times, thank you. And I got to talk to Tommy earlier today, and I consider him my friend, and I just appreciate you so much. And what I wanted to say at the beginning of this meeting too, when I introduced Tommy, is that, you know, teachers come in all different forms, right? And we have different teachers. I'm a teacher. There's all these different teachers, but the ability of a teacher to distill the teachings the way that Tommy does, and the way that we can hear them. I mean, that's to me the game changer, right? Is that Tommy's able to give us to transmit these teachings in a way that we can hear them and understand them. And that to me is just like, wow. So if you guys have not read this book, it's a necessary reading, I say in my group in White Flag Recovery Yoga. It's changed my life. Everybody's holding up their books. Everybody that was on my retreat now has this book. Yeah, everybody hold up your book. And like Tommy comes across with a ton of love. He exudes love, and he's like literally saying like, reach out to me. And he means that. Like he's got a community online, Recovery 2.0. And I highly recommend you guys all check it out. And he's here. He gets to hang out with us for like, maybe he said till 8:25 he has to get out of here. So if you guys want to ask questions, you can raise your hands. John is the co-host. He'll call on you. And Tommy, if you can stick around. All right, cool. So anybody have any questions for Tommy? I can't believe you guys don't have any questions for Tommy. Nobody has a question. For Tommy, are you kidding?
The G&B house in Canada.
All right, let's go there.
Hi, my name is Neil.
Hey, Neil.
Yeah, I guess I did the program of yours. I guess 2 years ago when I was visiting family in Hawaii, and that helped me through my winter there. And I was sober for like over 20 months, and then I had a couple traumatic incidents, and I didn't want to deal with my emotions being a Pisces, but I've definitely I would like to know where I could get your literature, and maybe even like some videos that I could play. I'm back in a recovery house now because I needed some help, and it's a very open recovery house. There, everybody who works here has been through here as a client, and they give you enough rope to pull yourself out of the hole or hang yourself. You get to choose. Yeah, I just, if there's some videos or links of things like I'm on your mailing list. So, that's, I listened to the Houston Craft speaker thing. I got that link. I listened to that, but yeah, I don't want to give Amazon money to get your book. So if there's another route, should I just go to your website or? Okay. So first of all, I want to say, I didn't get your first name. I can't hear you. Neil. Neil.
N-E-A-L.
Okay. Sorry. Got it.
No problems.
So Neil, congratulations on choosing to be in this sober house right now. What a power move. I'm so inspired by it. Phenomenal. Great job. Great job. That really, truly, that bodes so well for everybody. Keep up the amazing work. So cool. If you send me an email to support at r20.com, support at r20.com from your treatment center, I can have you guys buy books at the wholesale price. If you guys want to have, 3 or 5 books laying around or whatever, I'll set you up with the wholesale person, and they'll send you books, and it will be half price. That's out of my hands. I don't get paid for any of that. That's how they do it. So if you'd send an email, we'll take care of that. That goes for anybody. And then in terms of videos, we have a very, very robust YouTube channel with sections on yoga, meditation, recovery, Q&A, interviews. Like, it's deep.
Mhm.
And so that's our free resource for anybody. If you want to be more deeply involved with me and the community directly, you can join our membership. It is it's a little less than $1 a day.
I'm a member already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you
I have been for a couple of years now. Yeah.
okay. Well, stay close to us, please, and let me know, as your process unfolds. I'm going to be curious to hear how it goes, Neil.
Okay. You'll hear from me.
Okay. Beautiful.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So who was up next? Is it Travis?
Hey, Tommy, it's always good to hear what you have to say. And I love following you across different things. I've been with R20 for a while. And my question, I know you didn't really speak on it, but with the 12 efforts and getting people into, this upgraded recovery, do you still suggest like the traditional working of the steps and then introducing people? And I guess a big question, I have an old timer in AA as my sponsor and who has since been really turned on to the R20 community and some meetings, and he's kind of coming into it on the back end, I guess. And I'm really starting to see it as being this program of attraction rather than promotion, because I felt like whenever I was trying to tell people about it, I was pushing people away. But now that I'm, shutting up and just acting up, more people are attracted to it. So couple different questions right there, but thank you for your time tonight.
That's amazing, Travis. It's nice to see you. So the backstory on this, for those who are not familiar with the 12 efforts, over the last 30 years of my recovery, people have been, as I know you guys know, there are things about 12-step languaging that are hard for some people. And I think historically, the response has been, depending on the person or the group, but generally this response is, you kind of have to take this as it is, otherwise you're not ready to do the work. So kind of, do this, and if you, but I found that so many people were struggling around, for example, the God thing. The use of the word God, what does that mean? Is this a Christian cult? What am I getting involved in? It's confusing for people. And since a lot of people are coming to recovery with religious prejudice already, it's a problem. So Guru Prem, my teacher, used to say, Tommy, you're the one with a more flexible spine. You have to find a way to reach people. It's not their job to be heard by you. You have to use the right words for them to be able to access the teaching. So that's when I thought, okay, if the word God is such a problem for people, and by the way, so many women in recovery have come to me and said, I just don't like the male reference to God and the whole patriarchal thing, and like it just that doesn't work for me at all. And I so get that, and I honor that. And for me personally, to put any gender on God is personal issue between a person and their relationship with whatever their form of the formless is. And that's between them and them. But in a public facing forum, to assign a male pronoun to God at this point in time for many people is a non-starter. And really, and so I was at a retreat that I was leading with Kia, my wife, and another a beautiful teacher named Anand. In Costa Rica, we were at the Summit of Consciousness, and I woke up at 2:30 in the morning. My wife was sleeping, and to escape her getting upset with me for waking her up, I went into the bathroom and sat on the bathroom floor, and I rewrote the 12 steps. Not out of arrogance, mind you, not trying to change the 12 steps or the spirit of the work at all, but simply trying to create new language that could be more accessible for people. And so I wrote what we refer to as the 12 efforts. In Recovery 2.0 meetings, which are of course online and free for anybody to attend anytime. The meetings read in our preamble and our template, our meeting template, we read the 12 efforts. So you could look into that if you so desire. Do you guys want to hear any of them or sort of get a sense of it? It doesn't.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll give you a sense of it. So step one, as you know, the 12 steps, we admitted we were powerless over addiction, that our lives had become unmanageable. So keep in mind, I'm just writing language here that was addressing challenges of disempowering people. This is what other people have told me. I feel disempowered by this language. So we've created changes here. So the first effort is we admitted we had been stuck in patterns of belief and behavior that no longer served us, and that we were cut off from the power of consciousness. Effort two, we came to believe that by reconnecting with consciousness, we could reestablish health, live in peace, and thrive on a never-ending path of discovery. Effort three was we made a decision to focus our will and our life on connecting with and living from consciousness as it expresses itself through us. And so they go on. You can join our meetings or download the 12 efforts if you desire. Use them, put them to work in your own life if they can be helpful to you or anybody else. Our meetings page where you'll find all that is, I'll put it in the chat bar here. It's just r20.com, r20.com/meetings. And that's where you can find Recovery 2.0 meetings. Check into one, see if they're resonating for you. And if so, it's there for the taking. Sometimes in your work with others, you'll find that they have a real struggle around language. And now you have an option to stay close to the 12-step work, but to be able to adopt language that might be more accessible to those people. You can try it on for size, There's no workbook for going through the 12 efforts, Travis. So I advocate strongly for an enlightened, open-hearted, open-minded, good old-fashioned jaunt through the 12 steps. If somebody has an issue around language, you can bring in this new languaging. But the third step prayer, which already in the big book, it always said, come up with your own words that express the power of this prayer. So as a sponsor or guide through these steps, you already have the leeway to create your own prayer for step 3. Step 4, the inventory, the personal inventory, one of the most beautiful processes that exist on the planet Earth. I didn't change the language for that. I didn't even change the language for that because it's just simply, it's so critically important that it be done. The 9th step, amends, one of the most important processes a human being can do in this lifetime, hopefully many times. That stayed exactly the same. The eighth step stayed the same. But some of the other languaging around God and different things, we changed that slightly. But the work remains the same. I stand behind this work. This work transformed my life.
Right.
It gave me a foundation. But the important thing to recognize is that foundation is just that, a foundation. And we all have to keep living, growing, maturing. We have to keep doing the work. And so we have a great foundation. It's powerful. We have a relationship. And now from there, we can build a home. And it can be the home of our dreams. That's the incredible news here. So if, sometimes people who are very fundamental in their thinking around the 12 steps and the literature would get upset at me around changing language, right? You can understand that. If you're coming from a fundamental perspective and you want to preserve the wording, I have no issue with any of this. I take no issue with anybody's approach to recovery. If it works for you, fantastic. You've been blessed. And I really, if anything, I want to know how you did it, because it's a miracle. So this is just for those people who really struggle around language, to give them a little bit more of an access point. So that's all that was. Does that answer that question, Travis? Okay, thank you.
Okay, Tommy, we've got, it's 8:19, which means it's 5:19 where you're at.
Yeah, I'm good. Another
Okay.
5 or 6 minutes if anybody has anything else.
Okay, so let's just be mindful of the time. We've got 4 hands up, so we'll go in order. Mary was next. Mary from Indy, who's got 167 days today.
Where's Mary? I need to see her.
She's right at the,
Where are you, Mary?
Hi, Tommy.
Hi there.
Hi.
How's it
Hi.
going?
Oh, so good. Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Mary. I'm an alcoholic. Incredibly emotional tonight. I just did steps 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I'm on 9 in like 2 weeks. So a lot of emotions right now. And I came in here and Kim was speaking and I felt the tears coming and I'm like, what is going on inside me right now? And, you know, Tommy, I have your book and I actually have to make myself not read it because my sponsor and I are focusing on the big book right now. We'll add later, you know, this is a lifetime. I don't have to read every book today. Anyway, sorry, I'm going to focus. So I do this prayer every day. It's Father Michael's prayer, and it says, Lord, take me where you want me to go. Let me meet who you want me to meet. Tell me what you want me to say and keep me out of your way. And, you know, Lord, let me meet who you want me to meet. And when you told that story about Neil, like, I felt like my heart was going to explode.
Mm.
What he did for you. And that kind of thing is what, like, Kim and Dana and Andy, what you do for me. I just can't imagine doing this without you. And when, Tommy, when you're talking about that love, it's like, that's the second I met these women. I felt that love like I've been looking for my whole life. And when you're talking about teaching and what Neil did for you and Cooper Prim and what you do for Kim and what you do for all these people, I needed to be here tonight to hear that. I think that that's somewhere inside me. I think that maybe I can be Neil for someone one day. I just want to thank you so much for sharing all this story. And Kim, thank you for giving me a home here.
you're home.
Mary, you're in the room. You're never going to get kicked out. You're just in the room. It's so incredible. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for
I'm
me
so
to
grateful.
hear you. Yeah, your words move me deeply.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Mary.
So wonderful. Congrats on 167.
Thank you
Amazing.
all for being here. Every single one of you. Every single one of you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mary. We're going to move to Robin. We love you, Mary. Thank you for all your love. Robin, what do you got?
I'll be brief. I can't say, excuse me, thank you enough to Tommy and to Kimberly for being here. Tommy, I've been in touch with you back and forth. You may not know it, but I have been. Thank you so much. You answered for me a lot when you spoke to the last gentleman. I can't remember his name, Neil's question. I made the conscious decision to leave traditional AA when COVID began. I tried to go back. I did. I tried to go back. And when I left, I had such a heavy, heavy heart that I knew that this was not, it was doing me harm. And there has to be other ways. There has to be another path to recovery. And I've been really exploring those other paths to recovery through like Dharma recovery, Recovery 2.0, secular recovery. And I've met amazing people to show me that there is another way, that I can have a support network, that I need that support network. And I've met hundreds and hundreds of people like across the globe that are there, they're participating, that need teachers, that need an alternate teaching and another language to reach me, to reach my heart, and to show me an experience of awakening and being present and of knowing. I don't really have much more to say because you have said it already. And I just really want to thank you, and I'll see you on our Recovery 2.0 meetings. Thank you so much, and for passing it on to Kimberly, who passed it on to us.
Thank you, Robin.
Peace
so
to
nice
you.
to see you. Peace to you too. Grateful. Yeah.
We have time for, we got Paul and Alexandra. Paul, you're up.
Thank you very much. Thank you for hosting. Tommy, thank you for a lot of tidbits of information. I've never heard you before. I haven't read your book. This is all new to me. There was a lot of good tidbits that I'll keep and use. I've been in AA for a while. Scared me when you said that you went out, didn't go to AA for a couple of years or a year or whatever sort of thing. I'm just thinking about relating it to me, and it's like, oh my God, that's a danger thing, because if there's a bump in the road, I may convince myself, like I convince everybody else, that it's okay. I wasn't that bad. I didn't kill anybody, and I probably did everything else, but I didn't kill anybody. So it wasn't that bad, and I could probably go out there and drink again, sort of thing. Eh? So I just know that for me, I think maybe I have to do with AA, continuously going to AA, but also maybe doing something else. But I love the meditation, and for me, meditation is me listening to God, and when I pray to her, I've talked to God. So, but I heard a lot of good things in that, and I also, for me, and I've been around just a little while, and whenever I see somebody changing the big book, for me, red flags go off, because I see them changing the big book, and then they want to change this and that, just like reword it sort of thing. I've seen that so many times, and every time they go out, sort of thing. It's just yes. It's suiting them. They're changing it to suit them, sort of thing, and to each their own. But what I've seen, that it scares me, and I know what you're coming from, that you want to make it I know there's still lots of things, and this AA thing has been written how long ago by this generation kind of thing, so I can understand the changing of things, but it just scares me, because, and I understand where you're coming from, that you have to make it inclusive for different people. So I gotta let you go so you can get out of here. So thank you very much anyways. Thank you.
Paul, yes. First of all, love you. Love this, and love what you said. And to be very clear, everything you said is true. Everything I said is true too. And that's the thing about varieties of experience. I honor your path so wholeheartedly. And you're not in the position I was in 2000. You can't know what it was like to be in my shoes. I can't know what it's like to be in yours. When I put out a message like that, it's not a call for anyone to follow in my footsteps. It's a call for me to share honestly what actually took place for me, and to explain the unfolding of events that led to this moment for me. Just sharing my own experience. I really hear everything you said. And I'm hoping that you take the parts of what I said that could be helpful to your recovery and apply them. And I hope you let go of all the rest and let it, like, not even like it's not admissible in court, right? It's just tell the jury those things are not admissible in court. That's what I would say. But love you and thank you for your share, and grateful, so grateful. I have to run, you guys.
Okay, we love you, Tommy.
Much love to everybody.
Thank you. Let's all throw Tommy a heart. Thank you,
Love
Tommy.
Tommy.
Right back to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so, so much.
Namaste, Satnam, and blessings to
Namaste.
everybody. Bye for now.
Bye, Tommy. Thank you.
Namaste.
Sorry, Alexandra. If anybody wants to be on the mailing list for White Flag Recovery Yoga and
Oh,
you
God.
message, just put it in the chat and I'll make sure that you get on there. I thank you guys for all being here tonight. And I love you all. That was amazing, wasn't it? Yeah. He is such a good transmitter of these teachings and just his experience. And wow, I'm so glad
Do you,
go ahead.
sorry, do you know if he changes the third step prayer? He mentioned about it and he never like went forward with what the prayer was. Do you know if he changed the wording?
What he was saying in that, hey, Elizabeth,
Hi.
is that in the big book, it actually says to make it your own. So he was just sort of quoting what it already says in the big book, that those are sort of the directions around the third step. So he was saying that he didn't, there's no need to, you can adapt that and make it your own.
Yeah, I was just curious if he had one out there that I was just curious if he had one out there that he had created, I guess.
Yeah, you can reach out to him and ask him. And I can also, yeah, but you can kind of make it your own. Does anybody else have anything before we go that I can answer or help with? I know I feel bad Alexandra had her hand up, but we got to almost everybody. All right,
Hey,
you guys. Go
hey,
ahead.
Kimberly.
Yeah.
Quick question. Are there local meetings, or I saw the Zoom links on the website, but is there anything locally that is done?
There's no Recovery 2.0 meetings like that meet like a regular group here in this area.
Should be.
They're online. They're all online.
Okay, cool. Thank you. This was great. Good to see you all.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Lisa.
Thank you. He was very inspiring.
Wasn't he?
Elizabeth, I put my phone number in the chat. I can email you the 12 efforts if you want me to.
Oh, okay. That sounds great. Thank you.
Okay.
I would like that.
Thank you, Jill.
Wow.
Thank you for
If
hosting.
anybody wants
Thank you.
me to email them, why don't you just here, let me put my phone number in there for everyone. And you can text me, okay?
Thank you. That would be great.
Are you leading Recovery 2.0 meetings, Jill?
No, I'm just a member.
Yeah.
And I have them.
I go to them. I was going to them a lot at the beginning of the pandemic. They just have a really open and inclusive feel, just a lot like our, I lead Yoga 12-step recovery meetings, and ours are open to anybody touched by addiction, whether personally or by someone you know. And it's just inclusive, and it includes all forms of addiction. So it's not like when I was saying when Tommy got on, how sometimes in the original group that I got clean and sober in, you just can only talk about how it manifested in alcohol. And for me, it's nice to have this space. I like where the conversation is today in 2020 with recovery and addiction, that it's just, it just wants to live. It doesn't really care how it manifests itself. So I love that about the Recovery 2.0 platform and Yoga 12-step recovery.
Yeah. Excuse me, is there just like a link on the website for online meetings? They're all Zoom meetings? Is that what the deal is? Because I didn't even think to look at that.
Yeah, so you go to R2O and then there's a drop down and it says meetings.
Is it R2.0 or R20?
Well,
He put it in the chat. Maybe it disappeared.
The website is in the chat.
Okay.
It's a 0.
It's r20.com/meetings.
I see it
Oh,
there.
I see. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Terrific. Kimberly, that was really fantastic. Thank you
Kimberly,
so
I
much.
know, you guys, do you hear what I'm saying? Like, who are we gonna have next after that?
That's a hard act to follow right there.
That's a hard act to follow.
The White Flag Speaker Series is over.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
No, I do have somebody that, it's gonna still go on. You guys are gonna be flipped out when you hear who I'm talking to next. It's crazy.
Right on.
It's good.
Kimberly, I
You
put
rock.
my email in there. I would love to be added to your email.
You got it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, everybody. It was fantastic evening.
I'm gonna put my other email in there because the other email I don't think it works very well.
Did you get the newsletter that I sent out?
No, I had to get it. Lisa had to forward it to me.
Weird. Okay, check your spam too.
Okay. Oh, no, I did. I put a new email in there. The one that's like my email I really check.
Okay,
often,
and
so.
then also email it to me. Email
Okay.
the email that you want me to put on the news.
Okay. Yeah, my other one, it's covered in like all these emails that I don't even know where they're coming from, and I just can't deal with it. So.
Too much.
Kimberly, hi, it's Karen.
Hey, Karen.
Did I hear that this is recorded and we can maybe listen to it again?
Yes, I did hit the record button. However, he was about like 15, 20 minutes into his story.
It's all right.
I'll get better at this.
Right, but where would we find it if I wanted to listen again?
Once I figure that out, I will let you know.
You're a doll. Thank you.
I love you.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good
Kimberly.
night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Good night, Mary. Good night, Nancy. Love you. I love your share tonight, Mary. You touched my heart big time.
It was like that. It was like that meeting. It was Jim's class. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
Sunday night class, and you were there.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's like the story about Neil. Like Neil did that for Tommy.
I know.
And Tommy did that for you.
Yeah.
And you do that for me.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just that ripple.
It is. Yeah.
Blows my mind.
I know. That's why whenever I log on to my meetings every week, I start like crying before I even start leading, because I'm just so touched that these human beings are here. We're all like trying to do the same thing. And Mary, what you said about Neil, for him, like when Tommy was telling that story, there's no way in hell Tommy does not feel incredibly grateful and incredibly humbled by what the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous did for him. He's not saying that.
I know.
I know, and I know but
Yeah.
he hit that whole other bottom, and I hope that's what I heard when he told me that, because that's what I had done. I'm like, where's the next lesson plan?
Right.
And if there's not one, fuck it. I'm gonna drink or do something, because I don't want to live like this.
Right. Right. It's like, when I finally gave AA a shot and I experienced it with that willingness, it was like, how does anybody stay sober without this? And then when I started coming to Y12SR and the experience of actually finally having some kind of connection and communication with my body and my crazy head and God, it's like, how does anybody stay sober forever without this? Like, you've got to keep growing. You've got to, if you're not growing, that's when it's dangerous. So it looks different for everybody.
Yes.
I'm so grateful that Tommy's willing to share putting himself out there,
Yeah, because believe me,
himself.
he gets flack for,
Yeah.
there's
But
fundamentalists in all areas,
if
but
he helps one person,
hello.
right?
Right. And then I get to have him on here, and we get to have like almost 70 people who get to hear the story and raise the frequency. And so, God, I'm with you. I'm gonna go cry my eyes out tonight. I'm just so grateful. Thank you.
No, thank you so much for including me. This is just wonderful.
You sound amazing, Mary. I'm so glad to see you tonight, and you're doing so good. Congratulations, girl. Up in Indy and making those 170 days in 3 days. Woo!
So, I mean, my sponsor texted me Sunday morning, and she's like, "Good morning, Miss. I'm on step 9," and I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I'm like, "We just did 6 and 7 last night," and she's like, "Yeah, but 8's already done. We already did 8 when we did 4 and 5, so you're on 9." I'm like, no, like, it's happening so fast, and to actually, know that that willingness and putting in that work that Tommy was talking about, that fearless thorough, it feels, it's not like a burning bush type thing, but I do feel like a confidence, like